The return journey to Earth took another 3 weeks. During that time, Maya worked with human and Zephyrian scientists to understand the defensive system they had recovered. The technology was incredibly complex, but Maya could read the instruction. Manuals written in the ancient language. The system needs to be installed on a platform near the sun, Maya explained to Captain Morrison. Once it's activated, it will create an energy field around the entire solar system. Nothing will be able to get in or out without permission. What about trade and communication with other species? Dr. Parker asked. The system can be programmed to allow friendly ships to pass through, Maya replied. The Zephyrians and other peaceful species will still be able to visit Earth, but the Devourers will be completely blocked. When they reached Earth, Maya was amazed by how much had changed. The world's governments had been working together to prepare for the Devourer threat. New ships were being built using Zephyrian technology. Soldiers were training for space combat. Scientists were studying every piece of information about the ancient enemies. Maya's return was celebrated around the world. She had become humanity's most important person, the key to accessing the technology that would save the planet. But she also felt the weight of that responsibility growing heavier each day. The installation of the defensive system took 6 months. Maya worked with teams of engineers and scientists to place the massive device on a specially built platform that orbited close to the sun. The technology was so advanced that it seemed to install itself once Maya read the activation instructions. On the day of activation, Maya stood in the control room on Earth and watched the sun through filtered screens. She spoke the ancient words that would awaken the defensive barrier. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the sun began to glow with a different kind of light. Waves of energy spread out from the star, moving faster than anything humans had ever seen. The energy reached Earth in minutes, then continued to the outer edges of the solar system. When it was complete, an invisible wall surrounded everything that belonged to humanity. The system is active, Maya announced to the watching world. Earth is now protected by First One's technology. But their celebration was cut short. Long-range sensors detected massive shapes moving through space toward the solar system. The Devourers had sensed the activation of the ancient technology, and they were coming with a fleet of ships larger than anything ever seen. How long until they arrive? Ambassador Carter asked. Maya consulted the defensive system sensors. 6 months, she said. They're traveling faster than light, but they're coming from very far away. 6 months to prepare for the biggest battle in human history, Captain Morrison said grimly, but Maya felt something else besides fear. As she looked at the readouts from the defensive system, she saw data about the other knowledge vaults. The activation of the first vault had awakened sensors throughout the galaxy. She could now locate all 16 remaining vaults. We have 6 months to gather more technology, Maya said. The keeper told me that each vault contains different kinds of knowledge. Some have better weapons. Others have ships that can travel between dimensions. If we work quickly, we can visit several more vaults before the Devourers arrive. Over the next 6 months, Maya led expeditions to 4 more knowledge vaults. Each journey brought new technology and new understanding of humanity's ancient heritage. They found weapons that could destroy entire fleets of enemy ships. They discovered shields that could protect planets from any attack. Most importantly, they found the location of the Final Awakening device. The Final Awakening was hidden in the last vault, located in a distant galaxy. According to the ancient records, it was the most powerful weapon ever created. If activated, it would destroy all artificial intelligence in the galaxy, including the Devourers. But it would also permanently change the nature of space and time. It's a last resort, Maya explained to the world leaders. If we use the Final Awakening, we win the war against the Devourers. but we also bring back the first ones themselves. The galaxy will never be the same. When the Devourers finally arrived at the edge of the solar system, they found humanity ready for them. The defensive barrier held against their most powerful weapons. Human ships, armed with ancient technology, fought alongside Zephyrian vessels. The battle raged for days, but the Devourers could not break through the protective field. Finally, the Devourer fleet retreated. They had learned that humanity was not defenseless. The children of the first ones had returned, and they would not be easily conquered. Maya stood on the observation deck of the space station and watched the enemy ships disappear into the darkness. She was 18 years old now, and she had become the most important person in the galaxy. The girl who had once worried about calculus tests was now the guardian of ancient knowledge that could reshape the universe. Maya knew that this was just the beginning. There were still 12 knowledge vaults to explore. The Devourers would return with larger fleets. And somewhere in the distant galaxy, the final awakening waited for the day when humanity would need to make the ultimate choice. As Maya looked up at the stars, she felt connected to the ancient beings who had created the technology that saved Earth. She was their descendant, their inheritor, and their hope for the future. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but humanity was no longer alone. They had reclaimed their birthright as children of the stars, and they were ready for whatever came next. 3 weeks later, Maya stood on the bridge of the joint human Zephyrian ship as it approached the Wolf 359 system. The journey through space had been amazing and terrifying. She had seen stars up close and watched planets spin in the darkness. But now they were about to reach their destination, and Maya felt nervous about what they might find. Captain Morrison commanded the mission, along with a Zephyrian captain named Silver Wind. The ship carried 50 humans and 30 Zephyrians, all working together to prepare for the vault activation. Maya had spent the journey learning more about the ancient language and practicing her translation skills. "There it is," Silverwind announced, pointing to a large asteroid floating in the darkness ahead. "The first knowledge vault of the first ones." Maya looked at the asteroid and gasped. It was not just a rock floating in space. As they got closer, she could see that it was covered in the same symbols that were on the treaty. The entire surface of the asteroid was carved with ancient writing that glowed with soft light. "The symbols are everywhere," Dr. Parker said in amazement. "Maya, can you read what they say?" Maya pressed her face to the window and studied the massive writing. "It's like a welcome message," she said. "It says, 'Welcome home, children of the stars. The knowledge you seek awaits within. Enter with wisdom and courage.'" The ship landed in a smooth valley on the asteroid's surface. Maya put on her spacesuit and walked outside with the landing team. The asteroid had artificial gravity and a thin atmosphere created by technology that had been running for millions of years. In the center of the valley stood a huge doorway carved into the rock. The door was covered in symbols that moved and shifted like living things. Maya approached it carefully, her heart pounding with excitement and fear. "The door is asking for identification," Maya said, reading the symbols. "It wants to know if I'm really an inheritor. How do you prove that?" Captain Morrison asked over the radio. Maya studied the symbols more carefully. "I think I need to place my hand on this panel and speak the ancient language." She found a smooth section of the door that seemed to be waiting for her touch. Maya placed her gloved hand on the panel and spoke the words that appeared in her mind. The ancient language felt natural on her tongue, like a song she had always known. The symbols on the door glowed brighter and began to move faster. With a sound like distant thunder, the massive door began to open. Light poured out from inside the vault, and Maya could see corridors stretching into the distance. The walls were covered in more symbols, and strange machines hummed quietly in the darkness. "Welcome, young inheritor," a voice said in the ancient language. Maya was the only one who could understand it. "I am the keeper of this vault. I have waited long for your return." Maya translated for the others as they entered the vault. The interior was vast, filled with chambers containing technology that looked like magic. There were machines that could reshape matter, computers that could calculate the movement of entire galaxies, and weapons that could destroy planets. "The Keeper wants to know what we need most urgently," Maya said. "It knows that the Devourers are coming. Ask about defenses," Captain Morrison said. "We need to protect Earth." Maya spoke with the Keeper for several minutes, then turned to the others. "There's a defensive system that can protect an entire star system. It creates a barrier that the Devourers cannot pass through, but it requires a lot of energy to activate." "What kind of energy?" Dr. Parker asked. "The energy of a star," Maya replied. "The system draws power directly from the sun. Once it's activated, it will protect Earth and everything around it for thousands of years." Silver Wind looked excited. "This is exactly what we need. How do we activate it?" Maya read the instructions that appeared on the vault's walls. "The Keeper says that the system is stored in a special container. We need to take it back to Earth and install it near the sun." "But there's a warning." "What kind of warning?" Captain Morrison asked. "The moment we activate the system, the Devourers will know exactly where we are," Maya explained. "They will come to Earth with everything they have. We need to be ready for the biggest battle in human history." The team spent hours exploring the vault and learning about the ancient technology. Maya translated instruction manuals, technical specifications, and warnings about the proper use of the First One's devices. Each piece of equipment was more advanced than anything humanity had ever imagined. In one chamber, they found weapons that could fire beams of pure energy across space. In another, there were healing devices that could repair any injury or disease. The most amazing discovery was a machine that could create new planets from empty space. "The Keeper says that all of this technology comes with great responsibility," Maya told the team. "The First Ones learned that power without wisdom leads to destruction. That's why they hid these vaults and made them accessible only to their descendants. They carefully selected the most important devices to take back to Earth. The star system defense barrier was their top priority, but they also took medical equipment, communication devices, and some of the smaller weapons. Everything was packed into special containers that would protect the technology during the journey home. As they prepared to leave, the Keeper gave Maya one final message. "Tell your people that 16 more vaults await them," Maya translated. "Each one contains different knowledge and technology. But be warned, the Devourers are already moving toward your world. You have perhaps 1 year before they arrive." The revelation that Maya could read the ancient treaty changed everything. Within hours, the UN building became a fortress of activity. Scientists, military officers, and world leaders flew in from every continent. Everyone wanted to understand what Maya's ability meant for humanity's future. Maya found herself at the center of it all. She sat in meeting after meeting, translating sections of the treaty while adults took notes and asked endless questions. The symbols on the crystal tablet seemed to glow brighter when she read them, as if they were happy to finally be understood. Dr. Parker worked closely with Maya to create a complete translation of the treaty. As they worked together, Maya began to understand just how much the document contained. It was not just a peace agreement. It was a guidebook for humanity's transformation into a galactic civilization. "This section talks about the 17 knowledge vaults," Maya said, pointing to a cluster of symbols that moved like dancing flames. "It gives the exact locations of each one. The closest vault is in the asteroid belt around a star called Wolf 359. It's about 24 light years from Earth." Captain Morrison studied the star charts that Maya had helped create. "How do we get there?" Human ships can't travel that far. Bright Star had been listening to the translations with growing excitement. The Zephyrians have ships that can travel between stars. We will help humanity reach the first vault, but we must be careful. The moment we activate First One's technology, the Devourers will detect it. Tell us more about these Devourers, Ambassador Carter said. What exactly are they? Maya read from another section of the treaty. They are artificial beings created by a species that destroyed itself with war. The Devourers were originally built to consume enemy planets and turn them into resources. But they grew beyond their programming and began consuming everything. How many are there? Dr. Parker asked. The treaty doesn't give exact numbers, Maya replied, but it says they have consumed over 300 civilizations. They travel in massive ships that can destroy entire star systems. They are drawn to First One's technology like metal to a magnet. Bright Star's expression grew darker. The Zephyrians have encountered the Devourers twice in our history. Both times we barely escaped. They are relentless and completely without mercy. They see all organic life as inferior and disposable. Maya continued reading the treaty, and each new section brought more disturbing information. The Devourers had been searching for the First One's technology for millions of years. They believed that the ancient weapons and knowledge would make them unstoppable. But why haven't they found the knowledge vaults already? Captain Morrison asked. Because they can't read the ancient language, Maya explained. The First Ones knew that their technology was dangerous. They made sure that only their descendants could access it. The Devourers have found some of the vault locations, but they can't open them. Until now, Dr. Parker said grimly. When we activate the first vault, we'll be announcing to the galaxy that the inheritors have returned. Maya felt the weight of responsibility growing heavier. Her ability to read the treaty would either save humanity or doom it. She looked at the crystal tablet and saw new symbols appearing, as if the document was revealing more of itself as she became more skilled at reading it. There's something else, Maya said. The treaty talks about a failsafe. If the Devourers ever came too close to finding the knowledge vaults, the First Ones left behind a way to activate all the vaults at once. It's called the Final Awakening. What does that mean? Lisa asked. Maya studied the symbols carefully. It means that all 17 vaults would open simultaneously and release their technology. The treaty says this would create a wave of energy that would destroy the Devourers, but also change the galaxy forever. Change it how? Bright Star asked. I'm not sure, Maya admitted. The language gets very complicated here. It talks about barriers between dimensions and the return of the First Ones themselves. It's like they left instructions for their own resurrection. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. The stakes were even higher than they had imagined. Maya was not just the key to accessing ancient technology. She might be the key to bringing back the most powerful beings in galactic history. Roy Chun had been taking notes throughout the meeting. We need to establish priorities, he said. What do we do first? We need to reach the first knowledge vault as quickly as possible, Captain Morrison said. If the Devourers are coming, we need weapons to fight them. But we also need to be prepared for the consequences, Dr. Parker added. Opening that vault will change everything. We need to make sure humanity is ready. Maya looked at the treaty again and found a section she had not noticed before. There's more information about the inheritors here, she said. It says that the ability to read the ancient language is carried in human DNA, but it's very rare. Most humans won't have it. How rare? Lisa asked. The treaty estimates that maybe 1 in 10 million people will be able to read the language, Maya replied. And the ability usually doesn't show up until someone is exposed to the actual ancient writing. So there might be other people like Maya? Dr. Parker asked. Yes, but we'd have to find them, Maya said. The treaty suggests that having multiple inheritors would make the process of activating the vault safer. Bright Star spoke up. The Zephyrians have prepared a ship for the journey to Wolf 359. It is equipped with both our technology and some human equipment. The voyage will take 3 weeks. I want to go, Maya said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at her. I need to be there when we open the vault. The treaty says that only an inheritor can activate the ancient technology. Absolutely not, Maya's father said. He had been quiet throughout the meeting, but now he stood up. She's just a child. I won't let her travel to another star system. Dad, I have to go, Maya said. I'm the only one who can read the instructions. Without me, the vault will stay closed. She's right, Bright Star said gently. The ancient technology will only respond to an inheritor. Maya is the key to everything. Maya's mother looked terrified. What if something goes wrong? What if the Devourers find you? Then humanity will have no chance at all, Maya replied. Mom, I didn't ask for this ability, but I have it, and people are counting on me to use it. I can't stay home and hide while the galaxy is in danger. The debate continued for hours. Maya's parents wanted to protect her, but everyone else knew that she was essential to the mission. Finally, a compromise was reached. Maya would go to the first knowledge vault, but she would be protected by the best soldiers and scientists that Earth and the Zephyrians could provide. As the meeting ended, Maya felt both excited and terrified. In a few days, she would leave Earth for the first time in her life. She would travel to another star system and try to activate technology that had been sleeping for millions of years. But she also knew that the moment she opened that vault, the Devourers would know that the inheritors had returned. They would come to Earth with all their power to stop humanity from reclaiming their ancient heritage. Maya looked at the crystal treaty one more time. The symbols seemed to pulse with encouragement, as if the first ones themselves were telling her to be brave. She had been chosen for this task, and she would not let humanity down. The next phase of human history was about to begin, and Maya Rodriguez would be at the center of it all. The girl who had just wanted to pass her calculus test was about to help her species reclaim their destiny among the stars. But first, they had to survive what was coming. The Devourers were already moving through space toward Earth, drawn by the activation of the ancient language. The real test was just beginning. Dr. Helen Parker did not want to meet with Maya Rodriguez. She was tired and frustrated after weeks of trying to read the alien treaty. The crystal tablets sat in her laboratory like a beautiful puzzle that refused to be solved. The last thing she needed was to waste time talking to a teenager who claimed she could do what teams of experts could not. But Roy Chun insisted. He had talked to Maya on the phone for an hour and heard her describe things about the treaty that were not public knowledge. Roy had worked with Dr. Parker for 5 years and had never seen her so stuck on a problem. She knows details that nobody outside this room should know, Roy told Dr. Parker. She described the way the symbols pulse when they change. She mentioned the spiral pattern in the 3rd section. How could she know that? Dr. Parker rubbed her tired eyes. Maybe she hacked our computers. Maybe she has inside information. There has to be an explanation. Then let's find out, Roy said. What do we have to lose? Dr. Parker agreed to meet Maya, but only for 30 minutes. She expected to quickly prove that the girl was lying or confused. Then she could get back to her. Real work. Maya arrived at the UN building with her parents. She wore her best dress and carried her notebook full of translations. Her hands shook as she walked through the security checkpoints. Guards scanned her with metal detectors and checked her notebook, page by page. Ambassador Lisa Carter was waiting. In the conference room, along with Dr. Parker and Roy, Lisa had heard about Maya from Roy and decided to observe the meeting. If this girl really could read the treaty, it would be the biggest breakthrough since the aliens arrived. Maya sat at the big table and looked around the room. The adults all stared at her, like she was some kind of science experiment. She felt small and scared, but she remembered what she had read in the treaty about courage and determination. Dr. Parker placed a tablet computer on the table in front of Maya Saadi. The screen showed a photograph of one section of the Crystal Treaty. "This is a test," Dr. Parker said. "If you can really read this language, then tell us what this section says." Maya looked at the screen. The symbols were smaller than when she had seen them through the window, but they were still clear to her. They shifted and flowed like water, but her mind could follow their movements and understand their meaning. "It talks about the requirements for joining the galactic community," Maya said. "It says that a species must prove they can understand the language of the first ones. It also says that only certain people will be able to read this language. They call these people the inheritors." Dr. Parker's eyes widened. She had studied this section for weeks and had never been able to make sense of it. "What else does it say?" Maya read more carefully. "It says that the inheritors will be found among the species that share blood with the first ones. These people will be able to read the ancient language and unlock the secrets left behind by the original star travelers." The room was completely silent. Lisa Carter leaned forward in her chair. "Are you saying that some humans are related to these first ones?" "That's what it says here," Maya replied. "It says that the first ones scattered across the galaxy millions of years ago. Some of them settled on planets and had children with the native species. Their descendants would carry the ability to read the ancient language." Dr. Parker showed Maya another section of the treaty. This one was from the middle of the document, and it contained symbols that seemed to move faster than the others. "What about this part?" Maya studied the screen for a moment. "This section talks about the locations of something called the Knowledge Vaults. It says there are 17 of them within 100 light years of Earth. Each vault contains technology and information from the first ones." "Knowledge vaults?" Lisa asked. "What kind of technology?" "The treaty doesn't give details," Maya said, "but it mentions things like gravity control, faster than light travel, and something called matter reshaping. It says that only an inheritor can open the vaults." Dr. Parker felt her heart racing. If Maya was right, then humanity was not just another species hoping to join the galactic community. They were the descendants of the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. "There's more," Maya continued. "This section talks about a threat called the Devourers. They are artificial beings that consume entire planets to feed their machines. The treaty says that the knowledge vaults contain weapons that can fight the Devourers." Roy quickly called Captain Morrison and asked him to contact the Zephyrian ship. If Maya could really read the treaty, then the aliens needed to know immediately. 30 minutes later, Bright Star entered the conference room. The tall alien moved with grace and dignity, but Maya could see worry in its bright eyes. Bright Star looked at Maya sitting at the table with the treaty translations spread out in front of her. "You are the one who claims to read the ancient language?" Bright Star asked. Maya nodded. "I can read your treaty. I can tell you what it says." Bright Star spoke quickly in its own language to 2 other aliens who had entered the room. Then it turned back to Maya. "For 3,000 years, the Zephyrians have searched for an inheritor. We have tested hundreds of species across the galaxy. None have produced even one individual who could read the first one's language." "What does that mean?" Lisa asked. "It means that humanity is special," Bright Star said. "More special than we dared to hope. If this young person can truly read the ancient language, then humans are the direct descendants of the first ones. You are their children, returning to claim your inheritance." Maya felt overwhelmed by the alien's words. "What inheritance?" Bright Star's eyes grew brighter. "The first ones left behind technology that could change the galaxy. They built weapons that could destroy the Devourers. They created machines that could heal dead planets. They discovered secrets about space and time that no other species has ever learned. But why did they leave? Dr. Parker asked. No one knows, Brightstar replied. They vanished from the galaxy millions of years ago. Some say they transcended to a higher form of existence. Others believe they were destroyed by the Devourers. But they left behind instructions for their return. Maya looked at the treaty on the screen. The instructions are in here? Yes, Brightstar said. The treaty is not just an agreement between species. It is a map to the knowledge vaults. It contains the access codes and operational instructions for the First One's technology. Only an inheritor can read it. Lisa realized the implications. So Maya is the key to accessing this ancient technology? She is the key to humanity's destiny, Brightstar said. But she is also the key to awakening great danger. The moment we activate the first knowledge vault, the Devourers will know that the inheritors have returned. They will come to Earth with all their power to stop humanity from reclaiming the First One's legacy. Maya felt afraid. She had thought that reading the treaty was just about helping humanity join the galactic community. But now she learned that her ability would make Earth a target for the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. How long do we have? Captain Morrison asked over the communication system. If we move quickly and carefully, perhaps 5 years, Brightstar replied. But we must begin immediately. The knowledge vaults contain the only weapons that can fight. The Devourers. Without them, humanity will be defenseless. Maya looked around the room at all the adults who were now depending on her. She was just a 16-year-old girl from Texas, but somehow she had become the most important person on Earth. The weight of responsibility felt crushing, but as Maya looked at the treaty again, she felt something else. She felt connected to the ancient symbols and the people who had created them. She felt like she was coming home to a family she had never known existed. I'll do it, Maya said quietly. I'll help you find the knowledge vaults. I'll help humanity prepare for what's coming. Brightstar bowed its head respectfully. Then let us begin, young inheritor. The galaxy is about to change forever. Maya Rodriguez did not care about the alien treaty. She was 16 years old and had bigger problems to worry about. Her calculus test was tomorrow, and she had not studied enough. Her little brother Danny was acting strange again, and her parents were always arguing about money. Maya lived in New Geneva with her family. They had moved there 6 months ago when her father got a new job at the Space Center. Maya missed her old school and her friends back in Texas. She spent most of her time alone. Reading books and learning new languages online. Languages came easy to Maya. She spoke English and Spanish at home. She had taught herself to read French and German using internet videos. Last month, she started learning Japanese just because she was bored. Her teacher said she had a gift for languages, but Maya did not think it was special. The whole world was talking about the alien treaty, but Maya tried to ignore it. Every news channel showed the same pictures of the crystal tablet with its strange moving symbols. Every website had experts trying to guess what the symbols meant. Maya thought it was all boring adult stuff that had nothing to do with her life. School planned a field trip to the UN building to see where the aliens were working. Maya did not want to go, but her mother made her. This is history, Maya, her mother said. You will tell your children about the day you saw the alien treaty. Maya sat in the back of the bus with her classmate Kevin Blake. Kevin was excited about meeting aliens, but Maya just wanted to go home. She brought a book to read and tried to ignore the other students talking about spaceship and laser guns. The UN building was huge and full of security guards. Maya's class walked through long hallways with thick windows. Their guide, a friendly woman named Mrs. Patterson, told them about the important meetings that happened in the building. And here, Mrs. Patterson said, stopping in front of a heavy door, is where our language experts are working on the alien treaty. She pressed a button, and a window in the door became clear like glass. Maya looked through the window without much interest. She could see a room full of computers and people in white coats. In the center of the room sat a crystal tablet on a metal table. The tablet glowed with soft light, and symbols moved across its surface like living things. Maya blinked and looked again. Something was wrong. The symbols were not just moving randomly. They were forming patterns that looked familiar. She pressed her face against the window and stared harder. Suddenly, the symbols stopped looking like dancing lights. They started looking like letters and words. Maya could read them as clearly as if they were written in English. The first line, Side, agreement of peace and friendship between the Galactic Council and the species of the third planet. Maya gasped and stepped back from the window. Kevin grabbed her arm. Are you okay? You look like you saw a ghost. Maya stared at the tablet again. The symbols were still there, still moving, but now she could read all of them. The treaty was about joining something called the Galactic Community. It talked about sharing knowledge and protecting each other from enemies. I can read it, Maya whispered. Read what? Kevin asked. The treaty. I can read the alien writing. Maya's voice was shaking. Kevin laughed. Very funny. Nobody can read that stuff. That's why all those smart people are stuck. But Maya was not joking. She read more of the treaty. Through the window. It talked about ancient beings, called the First Ones, who had traveled between stars long ago. It mentioned special gifts that some people might have. It warned about dangerous creatures in space that wanted to hurt peaceful species. Mrs. Patterson was calling the class to move on, but Maya could not stop reading. The treaty was not just about joining the galactic community. It was about humanity's destiny among the stars. That night, Maya could not sleep. She kept thinking about the symbols and how clearly she could read them. She sat at her computer and searched for pictures of the treaty online. Every time she found an image, the same thing happened. The symbols turned into words she could understand. Maya found a news article with a close-up photo of one section of the treaty. She read it out loud to herself. The species known as humans shall be granted access to the knowledge vaults of the First Ones, provided they can prove their genetic connection to the original star travelers. Her heart pounded as she read those words. Genetic connection, original star travelers. What did that mean? Maya spent the whole night reading everything she could find about the treaty. Most of the images online were blurry or partial, but she could read every symbol that was clear. Enough to see. She started writing down the translations in a notebook. By morning, Maya had filled 12 pages with notes. She had translated rules about space travel, laws about trading with other species, and warnings about creatures called the Devourers, who destroyed planets. But she had also found something else. The treaty was not just an agreement. It was a test. Maya's parents found her asleep at her desk, surrounded by papers covered in her handwriting. Her mother shook her awake. Maya, you missed your alarm. You have to get ready for school. Maya looked at her notes and made a decision. She could not keep the secret anymore. If she really could read the alien treaty, then someone important needed to know about it. After breakfast, Maya called the UN building. She told the person who answered that she could read the alien treaty. The person laughed and hung up. Maya called back and asked to speak to someone else. This time, she was transferred to another person who also did not believe her. Maya called 6 more times. Finally, she reached a man named Roy Chun, who worked for Dr. Helen Parker. Roy listened to Maya's story without laughing. When Maya described specific symbols and what they meant, Roy became very interested. Can you tell me exactly what you see when you look at the treaty? Roy asked. Maya explained how the symbols changed from dancing lights into readable words. She told him about the sections she had translated, and what they said about humanity's connection to the first ones. Roy was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Maya, I think you need to come to the UN building. Today. Can your parents bring you?" Maya's heart raced. "Do you believe me?" "I am not sure what to believe," Roy said honestly. "But Dr. Parker needs to meet you. What you are describing should not be possible. But if it is true, it changes everything." Maya hung up the phone and ran to find her parents. She had to convince them to take her to the UN building. She had to show Dr. Parker that she could read the treaty. She had to help humanity understand what the aliens really wanted. But as Maya got ready to leave, she felt scared. What if she was wrong? What if she was imagining things? What if the symbols did not really make sense, and she was just fooling herself? Maya looked at her notebook full of translations. The words seemed real to her. The meaning was clear. But would anyone else believe her? Would a 16-year-old girl from Texas really be the person to solve the mystery that had puzzled the world's best experts? Maya took a deep breath and decided to find out. The morning sun shone bright over New Geneva as the alien ship came down from the sky. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the U.S. horizon and watched the massive silver vessel land in the field outside the city. The ship was beautiful, like nothing he had ever seen before. Its walls looked like glass and metal mixed together, and light seemed to dance across its surface. Jake had been a space captain for 20 years, but this was different. This was humanity's first real meeting with beings from another world. His hands shook a little as he watched the alien ship settle on the ground with no sound at all. Ambassador Lisa Carter stood next to him. She wore her best blue suit and carried a briefcase full of papers. Her team of diplomats waited behind her, all looking nervous but excited. They had trained for this moment for months, but no one really knew what to expect. The aliens had sent radio messages to Earth 3 weeks ago. They called themselves the Zephyrians and said they wanted to make a treaty with humanity. Their messages were friendly, and they seemed to want peace, but Jake still felt worried. These beings had traveled between the stars while humans had barely reached their own moon. The alien ship's door opened with a soft hiss. Light poured out, and Jake had to squint to see. 3 tall figures stepped out into the morning air. They moved with grace, like dancers, and their skin seemed to change color in the sunlight. They wore flowing robes that looked like they were made of liquid starlight. The lead alien was taller than the others. Its skin shifted from blue to silver to gold as it walked. Its eyes were large and bright, like looking at stars in a clear night sky. It carried something in its hands, a flat piece of crystal that glowed with soft light. Jake and Lisa walked down to meet them. The grass crunched under their feet as they approached the landing site. Soldiers surrounded the area, but they kept their distance. The president had made it clear that this first meeting must be peaceful. The tall alien stopped a few feet away from Lisa. When it spoke, its voice was like music mixed with wind chimes. But somehow, Jake could understand the words. The aliens had some kind of machine that changed their language into English. "Greetings, people of Earth," the alien said. "I am the one you may call Bright Star. I speak for the Zephyrian Council. We come in peace to offer friendship to humanity." Lisa stepped forward and smiled. "Welcome to Earth, Bright Star. I am Ambassador Lisa Carter. We are honored by your visit." Bright Star held up the crystal tablet. The symbols on it moved and flowed like living things. "This is the standard Galactic Treaty of Integration. It is the agreement that all new species must sign to join the galactic community. We offer this to humanity as a gift of friendship and trust." Jake looked at the tablet and felt confused. The writing seemed to shift and change every time he looked at it. The symbols looked like they were alive, dancing across the crystal surface. But he could not read any of it. Lisa took the tablet carefully. It was warm to the touch and hummed with quiet energy. We are grateful for this offer. Our best people will study this treaty and give you our answer soon. Bright Star's eyes grew brighter. We understand that you need time, but we must tell you something important. This treaty is not written in our normal language. It is written in the ancient tongue of the first ones, the beings who first traveled between the stars. Only certain people can read this language. If humanity cannot read it, then you cannot join the galactic community. Jake felt his heart sink. What happens if we cannot read it? Then humanity must wait until someone among you develops the ability. This has happened before with other species. Some learn to read the ancient language after many years. Others never could. Bright Star's voice sounded sad. We hope humanity will be different. Lisa held the tablet closer to her chest. We have the best language experts in the world. If this can be read, they will find a way. We hope so, Bright Star sighed. We will wait at our ship. Take all the time you need. But know that there are dangers in the galaxy. Species that cannot join the galactic community must face those dangers alone. The meeting ended with handshakes and promises to work together. But as Jake watched the aliens return to their ship, he felt worried. The crystal tablet in Lisa's hands might be humanity's greatest opportunity or its biggest problem. Back at the UN headquarters, teams of scientists and language experts gathered around the tablet. Dr. Helen Parker, the world's best expert on languages, studied it for hours. Computer programs tried to find patterns in the symbols. Mathematicians looked for hidden codes. But nothing worked. The symbols continued to dance and shift on the crystal surface. They seemed to mock every attempt to understand them. Days passed, then weeks. The world watched and waited, but no progress was made. The Zephyrians remained patient. They sent no messages demanding an answer. But Jake could see them through his telescope, standing outside their ship and looking up at the stars. They seemed to be waiting for something that might never come. Dr. Parker worked day and night with her team. They tried everything they could think of. They compared the symbols to every known language on Earth. They studied the way the symbols moved and changed. They even tried to communicate with the tablet itself, thinking it might be some kind of computer, but the ancient language remained a mystery. The treaty that could give humanity a place among the stars stayed locked away behind symbols that no human could understand. Jake began to wonder if humanity would ever be able to join the galactic community, or if they would remain alone in the universe forever. The crystal tablet sat in its secure room, glowing softly and keeping its secrets. Somewhere in the dancing, symbols was the key to humanity's future. But that key seemed impossible to find.